So you head back to Fandolin to claim your reward. You manage to get there without any further problems. You head off to the headman's house. He slides under the doorway a quill and a parchment with the 3 quests written on, and then a signatory, and he's like, with a little X next to the line, said, if you could just, one of you sign that to say you've received the bounty for the quests.
I'll sign it.
Right. So then he rolls it back underneath, and you hear the chinking of coins. He goes, okay, 1, and a gold coin slides underneath, and he goes, 2. So you stand there sort of tapping your feet and sort of leaning on the wall, muttering, as he individually pushes the gold coins underneath the door. When you tell him about the items that you collect from the gnomes, he says, oh, well, the wizard hat sounds like it could come in handy. So if you just want to leave that with my secretary downstairs, I'll pay you for it now. And after about half an hour, you've been paid, and you've headed off back to the mining company, run by a mid-30s woman who weighs all of your gems in and does all the tests for them and the silver. And then as you head back to the inn, you'd sent Andy a letter before you'd left.
Ye olde friend request.
Aye. You sent him a message on Facebook, dragon ? And then like a dragon emoji, then an explosion emoji, and then 3 sword emojis, and then an angry face emoji. As you come into the pub, he is indeed sitting there waiting for you.
Hello, lads.
Yeah,
Hello, old man.
Greetings. I want to ask that barman if he's got any bastard fox yet.
Oh no, the fox has gone off. Nobody seemed to have it. I mean, it was run over by the mail cart, if you remember. But like, we thought we'd whip it up into a nice stew, but nobody seems to be interested in fox run over by mail cart.
I will try.
I will pass.
I can't speak Russian.
Now, Andy, go ahead. You start with what you were starting with.
That's all right. I've just heard there's roadkill stew on the go.
Oh, the mail cart ran over a fox outside, and we thought that seems a bit of a shame to waste it, didn't it? So we knocked the stew up, but it's been out a couple of days now. Oh, sorry, the price has gone up a copper piece because it's now aged fox stew.
Aged fox stew, right? Yes. Well, bring us a bowl of that and a hunk of bread. That'll do for me. I've been on the road all day.
Coming right up, sir, he says. You notice the bar runs like at normal human height, and then towards the end of the bar, it slopes down until it's like dwarf halfling height, and then runs to the edge of the room, so it's like a dual height bar. But Wee Rab makes a point of not sitting at the short bit of the bar.
He just sits on my knee.
And after the tavern keeper has gone to all the trouble of making a reasonable adjustment.
After a little while, this re-warmed, aged fox stew comes over with a hunk of bread and an ale, and you all grab. As you came into the pub to meet up with Etrigal, you did notice there was a single lone job notice that had been hastily nailed to the board.
Would that be this one? I say, pulling it out from inside me jerkin.
That is it, yes.
You all do your various shopping and visiting the blacksmith and what have you, and head back and all meet up in the town square.
I look surprised when I come riding in on a mastiff.
On a mastiff?
Yep, 25 gold P for a mastiff. Yeah, baby.
You've bought a big dog.
Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Right, so you all meet back up, and it's about 11 o'clock in the morning. What is it you'd like to do?
I think we should go for that the lighthouse job. It's obviously going to be the biggest reward, isn't it?
That lighthouse sounds like a good idea.
You set out. The lighthouse is 35 miles west of Fandolin. As you arrive, you see an enormous storm brewing out the sea. By the time you reach the 100-foot cliffs overlooking the lighthouse, the thunderstorm has reached the coast. It appears to be a low tide, an outcropping of rock nearly surrounded by water, with only a narrow causeway connecting it to the beach below. Atop this outcropping is a stone building surmounted by a lighthouse tower. An eerie green light pulses from the beacon, shining westward out to sea. With each green pulse of the light, you hear the thump of a slow-beating heart. You appear on the cliff top. There is a narrow, winding staircase cut into the rock, leading down to a causeway. It doesn't go all the way down to the beach.
I think we should just merrily approach the causeway and cross the causeway. There's no... What do you reckon, lads?
The causeway is split in two by several large rocks, a bit like Marsden Rock. One of the causeways carved directly through this rock. There's just a dark opening in the gigantic rock that you can see ahead of you. It's like booming with lightning and thunders occasionally cracks overhead, and rain starts lashing down.
How rough's the sea? I know it's low tide, but is the sea rough?
It's quite choppy, yes. Wee Rab, this is the first time you've seen a giant crab. As you can see, it's almost 10 feet across and it walks slowly sideways down towards the causeway. But now that you've seen one, if you get high enough level, it can change into a giant crab. The giant crab has slowly walked down the beach towards it. It's at the bottom of the causeway now. It sort of waves one of its enormous claws in the air and shouts up, "Ahoy there! Ahoy!" in common.
I grab hold of Kalash's arm and go, "Did that fucking crab just talk?"
Yes. I'll say hi back to it.
I don't suppose you guys would be in need of a job or quest?
We is always looking for work, Mr. Crab.
We are interested party.
It looks up and it sort of rubs its two claws in front of its face and bubbles comes out of where its mouth is. My mistress, she's been cursed. She's in the cave in the giant column ahead of you. She's been cursed into unlife by this man thing that resides in the tower, and he stole her shell, a conch shell, and transformed me into a giant crab. And then it sort of stops and it sort of takes in the sand, picks something up, and then it sort of goes as it eats something.
What were you before you were a crab?
I was a sea elf.
Da.
The human in the big tower holds the shell. She will need you to return the shell to her so she can rest, but she's in a terrible mood.
Can you have a word with her to tell her to let us get past?
He says, I certainly would, except I'm a crab and I can't climb the cliff.
So how do we get past her to get to the man?
Oh, you can go along the path, just don't go in the cave. She gets very angry. I can hear her howling and screaming some nights in anger, and it hurts my ears. You get the feeling this is Amor Phillips has been transformed into a crab.
How much will you be paying for this service?
Well, there are 5 ships that have sunk because of the strange light that comes out of the lighthouse. They happen to be in shark-infested waters. I will happily fetch the treasure from those wrecks for you if you want.
Be a crab of his word.
Can he tell us anything about this guy in the tower? You know, what magic does he wield? If he knows.
He waves his big claws up and goes, he calls the lightning from the skies.
This is bad.
Oh, could that be mage?
Is there any reason why you gave us? Is there any reason why he turned you though? Why have you and your lass been targeted? Is your lass his lass?
He killed her, I think. He took her soul or something like that. It's getting harder to remember the longer I have. Just 1 sec. He sort of like raises his claw, go 1 sec, and then sort of digs to the thing, and then starts eating with his little crab mouth again. He goes, I'm losing myself. I'm sorry. I am becoming more crab than elf.
He is a crab.
Here's it. Or an elf fab. An elf.
Or a shell. Or a shelf.
Oh, that's the best one. Sorry. Breaking character. Best.
He says, because the man used the horn from my mistress to transform me, I think if you free her spirit, it will break the curse. So are you finished with Amor the giant crab?
I am now sneaking.
Right, you sneak
Yep.
down the causeway. You come to the darkened tunnel. As you peer into it, you can see an opening on the right side of the path. The path cuts through the rock and then continues on, but there is an opening to the right-hand side of the tunnel.
I will sneak forward and have a look into right-hand side.
The rough-hewn steps climb 7 foot high into a tunnel that passes all the way through the 30-foot natural pillar of rock. The 8-foot high cave encrusted with lichen is connected to the tunnel. Judging by the watermarks, this stays above the waterline at high tide. And all you can see is there seems to be a skeleton in the corner. Some of its bones are scattered away from the main part of the body. It has dried seaweed entwined amongst the bones that lie against the wall of the cave.
I will carefully look around, and if I see nothing, I will have a look at the cup.
You see nothing, but Emo the crab had said not to go in, that she was cranky.
Oh, then I will put a chalk mark on the wall to let the others in my guild know not to go in there.
So you head across the causeway until you get to the middle. The waves are starting to lap higher and higher as they crash against the wall of the causeway. As you see ahead of you, stone steps are carved into the side of the mountain that crisscross in a fashion up to a flat plateau upon which the lighthouse stands. You approach the bottom of the steps. Kalash, Shash and Sengo, you see dark shapes overhead. Horrible, ugly, feathered, man-sized creatures come screaming down from
I alert
above.
the rest of the party.
Look! Shouts Sengo, pointing up.
Harpy!
Flying feathered bastards!
First up is Shashalian. Missile weapons due to the horrendous storm are at a disadvantage. Dave, what do?
Target it and I'll shoot it.
Your arrow streaks out and hits the heartbeat. Oh, it's a good hit. The arrow sinks into one of its chicken legs and it screams in pain. Next up, we have Sengo.
Right, I'm gonna. So you click.
Right, you're going to shoot it with a crossbow.
What my right I am.
Right, roll your damage. You guys are just 2 uber. 3 damage to heartbeat 3.
Oh, good job.
Ah! It says. Next up, Kalash.
I shall draw my sword and stand in waiting for it to come and gah.
We Rab.
I'll whip out my stuff and cast Shillelagh.
Shillelagh! And then are you
Will do.
holding your action?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Knuckle.
Right, I suppose I had better fire an arrow at something.
So your arrow goes wide because of the strong winds and driving rain.
I thought as much.
Harpy 1. It swoops in at you well and tries to grab you, but you get to go first.
Since I waited for it to come, can I see how it will attack and stab it in the face?
You hit, so you stab it in the face and it screamed, but it hasn't been too badly injured, it appears. It rakes you with its claws, dealing 7 damage as it rakes up your arm. It partially grabs your clothing and snags on, attempts to pull you off the side of the walkway. Can you please make me a DC 10 strength check?
I haven't made it.
You basically do a keystone cop where you rail backwards and you go up on one leg, you windmill your arms about, and then just at the last second get your footing back, and the heartbeat continues on its movement past you. The second one is going to go for Sengo. Hits you at 40, which ends its movement. Claws slash out at you, Sengo. Missing. And finally, the third one that's injured, it can only get to there. So I will roll on a 1 to 3. It goes for Kalash. On a 4 to 6, Sengo. There you go. Can't say further than that. It lashes out with its claws and hits, doing 11 damage. Please can you make a difficulty 10 strength check? You narrowly make it so it plunges into you and it knocks you backwards and you rock onto the edge and like lightning streaks behind you, but you manage to retain your balance. Next round, Shashalian.
Mine again.
Badly injured, you put an arrow through its shoulder and one of the wings doesn't quite beat as fast as the other and it seems to be trying to fly away. How do you want to kill it, Dave?
Straight for the giz.
At close range, he shoots and the arrow goes straight through its gizzard. It goes limp and crashes to the floor. Well, crashes onto the side of the rocks and then disappears into the ocean below.
Is that within melee range now?
Yeah, there's one that's in melee range. Harpy 2 is trying to fly past. Harpy 1 has flown past.
Roar at me morning store with like a flouncy sort of like.
Right. So you take a mighty swing at this beast, which is clawing its razor sharp claws at your face. You hit. It takes 12 points of damage. You clout the harpy and it howls, but it hasn't gone down. Kalash.
That would. Yeah. I shall spin round and stab it.
But you do serious damage to the harpy. Its little dot on its foot goes from green to yellow and it goes as you mercilessly stab into it with your stabby sword. We Rab.
I will just turn and keep an eye on where this other harpy is.
Etigel.
Right. I'm going to have a go at that harpy that's furthest away.
Right, so even though it's lashing with rain and wind, you managed to feather the beast. So roll your damage. Oh, it's a good hit. The harpy is taking a lot of damage, howls in pain. One of its legs goes limp. Harpy 1 gets a turn. Harpy 1 stops target Nell and flaps round and has a go at Etrigel, who's just feathered it. With a horrifying scream, it reaches out with its claws and hits. The evil thing slashes into you and tries to knock you off the side. Please roll a strength check. Oh!
Flush.
Flailing his arms about, you go over. If you're using athletics, you catch the edge of the path, right? Or the harpy if you succeed, whichever you try. If you fail, you fall off.
Yes, I shall go for the edge of the path.
Dropping his short bow on the path, Etigel grabs on with one arm. As you look, one finger slips and comes loose. It looks like he would probably lose his footing by next turn. Well, he's handing, as it were. Right, Harpy 2, going to go for you again. Caw-caw! Misses.
That's a miss.
Caw-caw! Misses. So the Harpy flies 10 feet out to sea and then turns round as if it's going to come in swooping again next turn. New turn. Right, Shash, you see Etigel hanging precariously off the end, and there's also two harpies still there.
Is there any way I can grab them?
You can move and then make an athletics check. You need a 10, Dave. Ooh!
Me.
Right, so your second finger slips, Andy, and this elf looms over above you and holds his hand down and goes, "Get hold of my hand!" So you reach up with your hand. The two hands slap together, wrist to wrist, and then it slips a bit. Your other hand comes free, and you're hanging dangling by Shash's one hand.
Doing his best Sylvester Stallone impression.
Yeah. Can we have a Sylvester Stallone impression, please, there, Etrigel? Right. Single. Right.
Right. So
Sorry.
basically, I'm going to get that big bastard who attacked me back. And I'm going to do it with a javelin.
Okay, go ahead. Give us a javelin roll.
Harpy 2.
It's a good
yes,
hit.
That's a hit.
Roll the
That's a
damage.
fucking brilliant hit. That was in the Olympics for javelin, you know. Just not a good strength one.
However, it is stuck in it. But now you're out of javelins. But the harpy's got a javelin
It's
stick in
okay.
it.
I shall retrieve it later.
Kalash, what would you like to do?
Is there still on me?
There's nothing in melee range of you at the moment.
I will grab Etrigel.
You're swinging now completely by Shash's arm and not holding onto the rock face at all. We Rab McTavish. It's a solid hit. Nice. 6 damage to Harpy 1. Harpy 1 is looking incredibly badly hurt. Anything else you want to do in your bonus action? I mean,
Again.
you can shape change as a bonus action, so you could shape change it with giant crab, but you'd probably knock everybody off, which would be fucking hilarious, to be honest.
No.
Etigel, you dangled precariously by one arm by Shashelian. Kalash reaches out for you with his other arm. You need to make an athletics roll to climb up. Or acrobatics if you want to do a fancy flip type thing. With a 10, with a barely passing, Ettigal grabs hold of Shash's wrist with his other arm. His feet find purchase on the slippery seaside rocks, and you haul him up back onto the precariously narrow ledge there, Shash. Hurrah!
Hurrah! Was
Lads,
it?
lads.
Well done, Sash.
Harpy's turn. The Harpy falls unconscious and then crashes into the sea. Harpy 2 sees and decides discretion is the better form of valor and attempts to fly off. Right, it flies off. Shash Alien. Right, the arrow goes wide as it's blown off course by a heavy wind. Right, next up we have Senghor.
I'm gonna go to the bottom of the cliff, but as I go, I'm gonna have to reload.
The Harpy disappears over the top of the mountain. You lose sight of it. There's a great crash of thunder and a great bolt of lightning. What would you like to do now?
Do you reckon they know we're here yet?
You might know we are here.
I think it'd be wise to get up this path a bit further first.
Rough-hewn stairs climb the eastern face of the rocky outcropping. When you reach the top of the stairs, a rocky plateau spreads out some 80 feet above the water. Wooden doors leading to the inside of the lighthouse face you. The doors have rusty iron hinges and handles and decorative lightning bolts carved into them. So this is what you see as you approach the top. A door.
Go forward carefully and examine the door.
It looks perfectly fine. There is absolutely nothing dangerous about the door. It is the least dangerous door you've seen in your entire life.
Where is it door? Is it locked?
You push and pull it slightly and the door moves. It's as if it's not locked.
Good, I shall
Is
go
there any
in.
windows?
The door opens into a 15-foot tall room. It appears empty. There is a dirty window in the south wall which looks out over the cliffs. And just from the two ships, just out of the window, you can see the tip of two ships' masts. There's a double door leading to what is obviously the tower. The lightning and the thunder is extremely loud at this point, and it makes it so you either have to shout or stand close to each other because it's like an old black and white Frankenstein movies. It's proper like rain lashing down, wind blowing, thunder, lightning going.
This thunder and lightning is very, very frightening to me.
Can't hear anything because of
me.
the maniacal laughing.
Yeah, so you've got a window looking out over the cliff from which you can see the mass of two sunken ships, although you can see the sunken ships and the three sharks that follow them. The door is not locked and it has the same rusting iron handle and hinges. It also has the carved wooden lightning bolt into it, but it doesn't appear to be trapped and it doesn't appear to be locked.
Okay, I quietly ease the door open.
The door opens with a slight but it is drowned out by the thunder and the lightning. Inside, you see a square room.
Is it well lit up, this place, or is it just the occasional lightning crack?
It's just the lightning flashes that's lighting it up. The walls of this 15-foot high room are adorned with frescoes depict ships being tossed about on stormy seas, with a dark and terrible god looming above them and smiling. Set into the west wall is a dirty, salt-encrusted window. A stone altar with lightning bolts carved into it stand against the south wall. A metal rod descends from the ceiling above the altar, splitting in two before it embeds itself into the stone. Roll a religion check, please. The altar is an altar to the chaotic evil storm god Talos. Although he's chaotic evil, people pray to him a bit like they used to pray to Poseidon to keep the storms down, because it's basically his area of power.
Well, I want to go to this altar and I want to have a good look around it because I want to find out if there's any more information, because it sounds like, am I right? Did I hear you right? There's one big metal pole that goes into that thing.
If you imagine
there's
that a metal pole comes out of the roof and then changes to a Y shape that goes into those two marks. Okay?
Right.
So
okay,
it's
then.
like one big thick iron rod that goes into them.
Do you think that's like a conductor for the lightning? Oh, well then, lads, he's coming through. Right. Okay, then. Well, I'm going to go through that door, Rich.
You push the door, it easily opens, and on the other side, you see a plateau On the plateau there is a gigantic nest and a harpy with a spear impaled into it, which is kind of flopping about and is woefully tugging at the spear that is impaled through its side. So I'm going to roll initiative. Shashalian is first again.
I hold my action until I get a clear shot.
You hold your action. Sengo, you are next.
Right, I'm shoot the bastard. Miss.
Right. The crossbow goes over the top and disappears into the wild blue
Right, so
yonder.
I'm going to move back.
Next up, Etrigal.
There's not a great deal I can do at the moment, but I shall start moving round.
Next up is the harpy. The harpy, it seems to have trouble walking and flying, but it sort of half flaps and half walks its way to the edge, and it appears to be trying to climb up the side of Kalash. You're up, sir.
I crouch forward and stick my short sword in its peeper.
And you miss.
Normal attack, but I miss.
Can I take my turn now then?
You can, Dave, yeah?
Do it then.
So what are you doing?
I'm going to shoot. If I got a clear shot, I'll shoot with my arrow. Do I have to take a disadvantage?
You'll have to go through the door and step to the side. The arrow goes wide. Right, finally, we Rab.
I'll cover the back of the pod.
So bravely, you have 3 people guarding the ring. Right, okay.
But I'm the only one the right way.
Shashalian,
I'll try and shoot the fucker again.
go on, follow one, shoot out in the back. That would be so funny.
Do that. That sounds
Remember,
like
disadvantage, Dave. Right, this will get...
my God.
I tell you what, make an athletics check to see if Davey shot you in the back. Because he is kind of shooting through you if you look at the arrow. You need a DC 10 athletics check. So you take a point of damage as the arrow just grazes you from behind.
Why you do this thing?
It just nicks your ear as the arrow whistles past your head. Sengo, you're back
Right,
up
so,
again.
So I can move 5 squares, can't I?
Yes,
so
you
1,
can.
2, 3, 4, 5, which takes us into melee range with me Morning Star.
Go ahead, give it a lash.
I've hit it anyway, haven't I?
You have rolled your damage. Right, the heartbeat is almost dead. It looks like it's about to fall over the top. Etrigal.
Right.
Right, which way did you move that? Did you move diagonally across?
Yeah. Round there. 2, 3.
Oh.
Right. 2, 3. Wait a minute.
How did you move around the altar?
Round the edge of it.
Roll an athletics check, please. An 8. You gently brush against the altar. There's a great crash, as if lightning has struck something on the roof. Twin bolts of electricity come zapping down the Y-shaped metal and strike you, throwing you against the wall. Your hair stands on end, and you give it the old like that.
Oops.
You literally have electricity jumping between your fingers and across your eyebrows. And you feel that you are filled with power, tiny sparks crackle in your eyes. You know instinctively in your mind that Talos has granted you the charm of the storm, which allows you to cast lightning bolt 3 times. And then once you've used it, it's gone.
Oh.
Can I? I'm in the distance. Can I grab my javelin and use it as a melee weapon whilst it's in it and like rive it to sort of like pull it around and smash it onto the floor?
Absolutely. Make a DC 10 athletics check. Right, roll the damage for the javelin. With a pitiful shriek and a last flap of its wings, the heartbeat expires.
Just for good measure, I'm going to lift it up with all my might and then turn it around and slam it back onto the floor. Retrieve me javelin.
End of combat. What would you like to do now?
And he looked like he needs any healing.
He doesn't appear to be hurt. In fact, he's got a bit of a wild-eyed look in his face.
I'm all right, lads.
Said in the most somber way possible. Is there anything in this area now of interest?
You find a small bottle with a blue potion in. So while Sengo pokes through the harpy shit and nest, Andy pulls himself to his feet.
So we might as well move on to the next area. We've got there's only one place left we can go now, isn't there? Into the actual keep of the lighthouse.
Right, so you retrace your steps.
Let's have a little investigation of that door.
It opens into a spiral staircase, surprising nobody. The lighthouse in There is a spiral staircase with an ornate stone railing climbing up the inside wall of this round tower. Each staircase landing is 20 feet higher than the one below it, thus making it about 60 feet in total. And there's a door off to your right, and the stairs lead upwards into the gloom. But you can see that the place is lit up by flashes of lightning, like at the top of the stairs, casting long shadows down the stairs.
Is it still the green light, Rich, like from right at the beginning?
There is a green light, and every time the green light does a revolution, you hear like a boom, boom, heartbeat.
Does it seem to be coming from everywhere or one particular place?
You get the impression it's coming from the top of the lighthouse where the green light is coming.
Shall we clear that room up before heading on up? Because we might find something that, if that is a dragon or if that is a beast or something, we might find something in there.
This is a good point. I will have a quick listen at the door.
You hear nothing on the other side of the door other than the crashing of lightning and the thunder.
I will push the door open.
You push the door open. Inside this room, there's two north-facing windows. A barnacle-encrusted chair stands against the south wall. Sitting in the chair is a rough-looking humanoid. Lightning crackles over his face, and all of his exposed skin is covered in tattoos. He has black armor, which has a slightly slimy look to the outside of it. Resting in his lap is an opalescent conch. There's a hole where his heart should be that runs straight through.
Yeah.
Okay, so you step forward into the room next to Sengo, presumably.
I want to have a look. Like, is this guy alive?
As you step into the room, there's another burst of lightning, lighting the room up from the two windows behind you. His eyes flicker open. He raises to his feet, holding his finger out, pointing, and says, "Leave this tower now or die."
I'm going to say, all right. Well, see, the thing is, mate, we don't want to leave.
Round one. Right, there's not combat happening, but I'm just sorting out who does what in what order. So, Earl, what was it that you wanted to do?
I was going to try to be clever, but since it looks like we're not in a chatty thing and we're in a killy thing, and
He looks like some kind of weird undead thing, if nothing else. Like, it's not normal for people to have holes in their chest where their heart should be.
Who are you saying this to?
No, this is just what you observed. Right, he will give you a few seconds. Like I said, he's pointing, and he looks kind of weird. So,
shall we wait? This might be a guy who is impossible to kill, so maybe we could step out of the place, go to the top of the lighthouse, and see if there's anything in there that we could use to kill him.
right.
Or I mean, I'm not like out here with like the mechanics of these things. Is this a person who could be killed? I don't know. Like the rest of I'm depending on the rest of you for knowledge on this.
I've never seen one like this before. But I will make sure that I am not standing right next to the guy who's threatening to smash his face in. You know, like you were subtly taking a step to the right there.
Yeah. So are you rolling an intimidate check on him, Sengo, or are you just mouthing it off? Or right, because he gives you a few seconds. What do you do?
What do you think, lads? I mean, are we going to attack this bloke, or are we going to like acquiesce and fuck off? Or we could just think we've left and then go to the top of the lighthouse and see if there's anything up there. Because I'm thinking the boom 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 could be his heart up the top, which we could stab, which would kill him.
That sounds good.
As you stand talking and debating, you feel the air filled with magic. Lightning courses round his outstretched hand. A bolt of lightning shoots out and shoots straight at Sengo. And he says, "You were warned." Sengo, you are zapped by a bolt of lightning.
He fucking kills us.
Sengo crashes to the floor. The bolt bounces off the wall, and then narrowly misses you, Earl, and impacts the wall right next to the door. Now, combat turns. Shashalian. Too much talking without saying anything, though.
I see him.
From behind a door and through 5 feet of stone wall, no.
Light wounds, I think it is.
Okay, Sengo, you're jerking, you've bitten your tongue and your eyes have rolled back into your head. Shashelian comes in and touches you with his nice warm palm of his hand and then jerked awake. You were looking into a long dark tunnel. Next up is Kalash.
Okay, right. I'm going to have to be quick. Everyone out now. And I'll turn around to him and go, we are leaving. And I'll use deception to try and convince him that we mean him no harm. And it was a big mistake. And I am a half-orc.
He says, get out of my lighthouse now.
I will drag Craig out.
You drag a stunned Craig out into the passage.
I will close the door behind me.
What do you want to do?
Happened?
The creature in there is a wizard of some sort. I think Sengo had a very good idea that maybe his heart is in the top of the tower. Without his heart, I do not think we can kill him.
But if we kill the heart,
Then we can finish him, I hope.
sounds good to me.
And if not, we should run away very fast. This is a very dangerous thing in there. He did bad things. And I'll point at Sengo. He did bad things. And I'll point at Sengo.
I pull out this little teddy bear and like he hurt me here and here, and I just point all over it.
Is the teddy bear? Since he had the teddy bear, is it smoking and is its hair standing on it?
Yeah, he got hit by super taser. Are you going to hang about down in the bottom of the tower and discuss
No,
it?
we're leaving.
Fucking leg it upstairs.
Right, you run up the stairs and you appear on a landing on the second part of the map. You appear on the second landing of the tower. There is a door leads out, presumably to an upper level of roof, and the tower continues up.
Right, let's have a look in like through that door. This is the only door we can go through.
I would normally check, but we're in a race now, so I figure pile through. Is there a doorway?
Where you are, there's a doorway that leads out either to the second level of the roof, you're not sure, and then the stairway continues upwards.
I think we should go up to the roof because that's where the light is.
Earl runs upwards. You plunge up the stairs, and you've come to the pinnacle of the lighthouse beacon is partly open to the elements and surrounded by a narrow walkway topped by an iron railing. 3 open archways allow the beacon's pulsing green light to spill westwards over the sea. This light is so bright that you can't look directly at it. The light originates from a giant beating heart which floats 5 feet in the air. You hear a scream from downstairs. No, get away from it! It slowly beats in time to the rotation of the light. Doom, doom. What do you want to do?
Fill it full of arrows.
Weerab, you get to go first.
Moonbeam, bitches!
A great beam comes down from the heavens, shining through the roof like a Death Star ray. 7 damage. Right, the heart starts to blacken, parts of it burn away and smoulder, and you can hear a scream and a howl from downstairs. Next up we have Etigal.
I've had a thought, lads. Duck.
Bishop Duck.
Quack, quack.
You know that lightning bolt thing apparently that I can do.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
How do I do it?
Hold your arm or your arms out or any appendage you like, really, and just will it into being. 9 damage. How do you blow this thing up? Because there's a great Death Star beam going down the middle, burning it away. What do you do?
I just want to hit it dead on in the hope it'll shatter.
Lightning crackles all around his body and then goes down his arm, shoots out in a great beam, hits the heart dead center, and there's just a great boom, splutch noise as bits of heart get splattered all over the inside of the lighthouse, all over you, all over the stairs. There's a great scream comes from downstairs, which is then quickly cut off.
Did tell you it's the duck.
Yeah, you're all standing there, splattered by bits of exploding heart.
like at the end of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
This isn't marshmallow.
Juicy heart bits. The light goes out.
So what did we need to get from this wizard again?
The
The
conch.
The conch shell.
Is there any way to relight the light so we're not?
Because that's what we need to do. We need to make sure the lighthouse is working properly, and this has stopped it from working, and that's why all those ships have crashed.
Yes, now that the heart's exploded, there's like a great magical brazier that you could light.
Well, I have got enormous mechanical bar pipes that blow fire at the tops.
Over the course of a couple of minutes, you remount the brazier into the mechanism and relight it, and then the normal light sort of streaks out. Okay, so then what do you do?
We lightly high five each other.
High five, high five, high five. Low five to the
There's
two
other
gnomes.
rooms, Richie. There's other rooms, isn't there?
The only thing you haven't explored is through that door.
Let's go through that door.
It leads out to the roof of the lighthouse. The storm seems to be easing off now, as if something has changed or you've appeased Talos in a way that has made him very happy.
Right, well, I'm going to just go down the stairs and I'm going to check on that big bastard. I'm going to see if I can have his conch.
Well, he is very dead, lying slumped at the bottom of the stairs.
I'll go downstairs as well.
Yeah, ditto.
On the floor next to him lies the conch shell.
Is there anything sort of like left on this corpse?
Other than the horn, he doesn't have anything. As your fingers go over the corpse to search it, that armor feels kind of slimy. If you just want to make a DC 20 nature check, so many power rolls. Look at those rolls. Sengo, you get the closest. You think it may be made out of some kind of sea creature, but you're not sure what.
I'm taking that armor.
You've explored all of the rooms and he doesn't have any other treasure on him. What would you like to do now?
Go back to the crab and give him the conch.
Yes, we should return to Captain Crab and give him the conch.
Emo the crab. You head back out of the tower. The light shines normally, warning ships away from this dangerous area. As you get back to the top of the ridge, Emo the crab is waiting, rubbing his two claws together over his eyes. Did you get it?
Yes.
He holds up a shiny short sword,
Ooh.
untarnished by the state underwater, and its blade gleams with a almost supernatural keenness. He says, "There's a bunch of dead sailors down there, but I can't exactly pick up gold pieces," and he sort of clacks his giant claws. There's a small pile of treasure, 3 small luck chests, a cloak, and a short sword. He says, "You need to give the horn to Mistress to release her. She's in the cave."
Right, well, I've got the horn, haven't I? So I'll go and give it to her.
You enter the cave and you see a small skeleton on the wall. Is anybody else going with him?
I shall go
Yeah, I'll
with him.
go.
As you enter the cave, rising from the skeleton and through the floor is a spectral elf maid who rises up and hovers 3 feet above the ground. She's a ghostly elf with gills, webbed hands and webbed feet. You feel something clutch at your chest as if something's grabbed your heart and starts squeezing. And she opens her mouth and she starts to let out a keening wail.
Oh,
What do you do? What do you
Give
do?
her the conch.
10,
Give her,
9,
is the conch
Eight.
Give
blowable?
her the conch.
Can
Give
you
her
do
the
that?
conch.
yeah, give her the conch.
Right, you hold the conch forth and the wheel dies in her throat. Her face breaks into a smile as if she has found an old friend, and she mouths the words, "Thank you." The spiritual ectoplasm just begins to drift down into the floor and break apart where it dissolves into a puddle and then which evaporates into nothingness, leaving
And I
the
say, "You're free. Be at peace."
conch is left lying on the floor next to the skeleton.
Has her spirit gone into that conch?
No, the spirit sort of said thank you and then
So
disappeared.
it's sort of like gone to heaven sort of thing. Oh, well, we'll get the conch back up. Has it got any value?
You pick the conch back up. Sengo, Shashelian, and Kalesh come back out of the cave. They look like they might have had the willies put up them, to be honest. The rest of you, where did you go when this was going on? Because it is quite a small cave.
I just stayed where we were, where the treasure was. I just wanted to idly pick up this short sword and see if it seemed interesting at all.
Well, the short sword and the treasure is on the beach with the crab. Remember, no hands, can't climb up the cliff. So there's a small pile of treasure at the base of the cliff. As you stand and watching Andy, Crab's form seems to shimmer and shake. It materializes into an elf with gills and webbed feet and webbed hands, wearing only a loincloth of seaweed. It sort of feels its face in its hands and bursts into tears.
Now it can go pick
Can
it goes up.
I either climb down that bit of cliff onto the beach, or can I knock a pick on it and climb down the rope onto the
You
beach?
can make an athletics check to do the climbings.
Yeah, we might as well have a little walk down as well, if we can, like a little abseil down.
So you lower yourself to the beach. Where the giant crab was, there is now an almost naked sea elf. You see he forms his hands into pincers and starts digging through the sand, and then stops himself and slaps his hands. He's like, that's going to take a while to get used to.
Go over and make sure he's all right.
Right, he seems to be fine.
And pick
Just
up the short sword.
a little bit upset. You pick up the short sword. It seems well balanced and the edge is keen, untarnished by the sea. All of the rest of you climbing down. Wee Rab rolls a 1 and plummets off the rope, taking 13 damage as he lands face first into the...
Fucking hell.
He lands on his head. Bang.
What are you doing?
Can I halfway down? Can I change into a seagull?
You can, but you can't fly until level 8. So you change into a seagull, and your seagull head smashes into the beach. You like literally go head first into the beach. Your wings flap left and right, and then you sort of like tip over and go plump onto the sand.
It starts going, mine.
Right.
Mine.
So Wee Rab changes impressively into a seagull, only to crash into the beach. You do, however, subtract the seagull's hit points from your damage. So the seagull had 2 hit points, so you take 2 hit points less. I mean, you only take,
So no,
right?
not like kind of a sudden bear.
And then basically what happens is that the seagull head first upright crashes into the beach. Then the seagull changes back into Wee Rab, who has got a big lump on his head and an embarrassed look on his face.
Yeah, well, that worked out well.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Go. You approach the 3 boxes, the crying elf and Andy, who's waving this short sword around going, I don't think it's cursed.
I just cast detect magic. It's got a 30-foot range.
You sit upright, rubbing the top of your head and brushing sand out of your hair.
With his finger light bulb moment. I've got an idea.
And then waves his fingers about in a complicated manner. That was brilliant, that, Pretty. That was absolutely brilliant. Changing to a seagull smash.
You really thought I'm getting one over on the system here, like.
You can't swim until level 4, and you can't level 4 or 5, and you can't fly until level 8. So you can change into a fish, but you'll just drown.
You can change it to a bird, but you'll just fall. Why a seagull as well, though? The ship
Because I
is the
thought I could
birds.
just, if I couldn't fly, I could just glide.
No, but how are a seagull?
It was
You could do like more of a majestic bird.
it was brilliant. That the portion you picked up, the blue portion with the goldfish on, is magical. The short sword is magical. One of the chests is faintly radiating magic, Bracy, but it's not like powerful magic, more like ambient magic. The cloak detecting is magical. Between the two, you open the 3. The first one is full of straw, in which is packed a delicate 9-inch tall blue quartz statuette of a mermaid. So it's a good job you didn't smash that one open. The second one contains 60 gold pieces and 6 pearls in a black silk pouch. And the third one contains a wand, and there's also a book is faintly detecting as magical.
It's got magic writing in it.
It's got magic writing in it, yeah, and big runes, and ye property of Malisto the Magnificent on the front. Amo the elf says, well, if you don't need me any further, by your leave, I will head to my people under the sea. And did he see? And because down where it's wetter, it's so much better. Unless, obviously, I'm in debt to you for releasing my lady and saving my life.
You may leave, and thank you.
If you do need me, write me a message and in a bottle and throw it into the ocean, and I will get it, and I will spend come to you as quickly as I possibly can.
What's that, like whale meal?
I will, Mel.
Oh my God.
You have reset the lighthouse, and you have saved the poor elf lady and the Giant crab.
And we got loads of sweet stuff, and we're owed 100 gold for doing that lighthouse job.
Yeah.
a good guy.
You head back to town. You notice that there are 3 jobs on the job board as you head back into town, but you go into town and claim your reward and treasure. Is there anything else you want to do before we finish for the evening?
Buy a sling.
You buy a sling and 20 stones or 40 stones or whatever.